What is going on? This is JD coming after another video from Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. This is Monday after the Patriots game. Oh man. First off, like, share, subscribe. I did not post a video last week. I didn't have time to do it. A lot of my shifts were not the best shifts to go. I was doing a video while I was driving and I got a phone call in the middle of it, so I'm like, you know what, screw it. This week wasn't worth talking about anyway. Now we have some big news. Jay Gruden's been fired. He's been relieved of his coaching duties. I'm not like necessarily surprised. He's not starting off the season very well. Now, whether that's his fault or someone else's fault or whatever, I mean, he doesn't have the excuses he's had. You can make excuses if you want. I could try to if I really wanted to. I'm a fan of his. I think he's done some great things with the team. So you can try, but ultimately, he's not getting the job done. He's 0-5. He hasn't won a game. His team looks very sporadic. We put together a couple good halves of each side of the football where we can be like, okay, if we put this together, we can win a couple games. We've had a good half of football, like offensively and defensively, against the Eagles. We had a good half of football offensively and defensively against the Bears for the most part. We had a decent half of defense against the Patriots, the first half. We just haven't been able to put it together. I'm surprised he didn't get fired after the Giants game, because losing to the Patriots was a given. I'm not trying to sound negative that, well, we didn't have a chance. We had a chance. We gave ourselves a chance. It was a given. But I get what should have happened, honestly, is it needed to be a progression of firings. The first couple weeks, I don't blame Jay Gruden for the first few losses. It should have. I'm not saying he should have been fired. I'm just saying this is how it should have been done. And this is typical of the Redskin, ownership and front office, of how they handle things, and they handle things wrong every single time. They handle things wrong all the time. So, what should have happened is after week 2 or even week 3, Greg Manusky should have been fired. He put someone else in there, defensive coordinator, and then you see if that fixes the problem. Because defense is not bringing heat. Defense is putting fucking guys with 90-somethings on their jersey and pass coverage. It's freaking retarded. I'm sorry, pardon my language. It's fucking retarded. Okay, the way that Greg Manusky is schemed. He did. If it wasn't for the front four just bringing pressure on their own, they'd have never got to the quarterback. He didn't bring enough pressure. There's a lot of times we had him and all he did was sidestep because there wasn't enough pressure being brought, and he'd sidestep and just throw a touchdown. Sidestep and just throw one deep. Every single time. And it's disheartening to watch that because you're thinking, okay, this is a chance the defense got off the field. Oh, wait, no, we're not. Now, I will give credit. I mean, we did do better on third down conversions. First half, we had good run defense, good pass defense, good all-around defense. Offense had one great play. If it wasn't for that one play, we never would have. We wouldn't have passed 50-yard line, to be honest with you. But what should have happened is Greg Manusky should have been fired about 2 weeks ago after the Bears game. I'd have fired him after the first game, to be honest. After the Bears game, I don't know, promote. I'd say Rob Ryan to defensive coordinator, and as the owner or as president of football operations, wgether Bruce Allen's title is, tell him, hey, your goal in the next 2 weeks is to bring as much heat as possible. If we get beat, we get beat because we're bringing pressure, not getting beat because we sit back and let them pick us apart. That's my philosophy. But we don't have a GM that is football smart. He's a hat guy. He knows politics, so he's going to get us a new stadium, so on and so forth. And that's the only reason that this guy is still around. I'll bet my left nut and half my right one that's the only reason this guy's still around. He does not know football. He still has Trent Williams on the roster. Why? Are you waiting for him to come back so he can play the rest of this losing season? Get rid of Norman. Get rid of Kerrigan even. I love Kerrigan. He's probably a Hall of Famer from the Redskins. Not pro Hall of Fame. I don't think he hits that. But he's probably like a Redskins, circle Ring of Honor or whatever. And get rid of him. Trade him to a team that could use an extra linebacker that got someone injured or something. Get something in return. But we're not going to do that. We're going to sit back, and Bruce Allen's like, well, I said I wasn't going to trade him, so I'm not going to. Blah, 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 beat his chest. And he's not going to trade him. And we're going to end up having a guy on the roster all year, not going to play, and then next year we have no trade value for him, and he's either going to play out and retire, or he's not going to play and retire, or he's going to come back and play for a losing effort. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't understand the GM. And this is why I don't blame Jay Gruden as much as everyone else does. I get it. He has not done very well this year. But how do you look at the front office running this team and then look at Jay Gruden, who has to answer to the front office and do what they ask him to do, and say Jay Gruden's the problem? He's not. He's a symptom of the real problem. And that's why I said maybe Greg Minuski, if we got rid of him and we got a different coordinator, maybe that might help, because the defense could at least get off the field on third downs, and then maybe our offense gets more opportunities to score, and that might help us win. But we don't do things right. We should have. I don't know what it is about Minuski. I don't know. He sucks someone's dick in the front office, and he's just there. He doesn't have success. A couple years ago, he didn't do bad. Last year, he didn't do bad. I still say last year, like, what ruined him is the fact that Clinton Dix came over and his defense went very basic, and Clinton Dix was trying to conserve himself, not trying to make a business decision, not trying to run hard, not trying to make hits, yada yada yada, going in free agency. Why would he? But he should have been gone at the beginning of this season. I'm sorry. And then after that, if Greg Minuski leaves and you put Rob Ryan in, and the trouble still happened, and the offense still isn't moving, then you get rid of Jay Gruden. But we do it backwards. So we do it backwards. The worst part of our team has been the defense, at least in my opinion. I think the offense has actually had some glimpses of being decent. And the offensive line is an issue. I don't know why Bill Callahan's promoted. I think it's ironic that Bill Callahan got promoted to replace John Gruden, and now he's promoted to replace Jay Gruden. I think it is kind of ironic about that. Bill Callahan, who coaches our offensive line, the most penalized offensive line, maybe in the history of the NFL, definitely in the league right now, maybe in the history of the NFL, the most penalized offensive line in the history of the NFL, and he's put in charge. I can't imagine what kind of clusterfuck this is going to be in the next few weeks. Because if he coaches the rest of the team like that offensive line, oh my God, there are going to be flags everywhere. And I'm not going to, I want to reiterate this. This is a driving point I've had in my history of this channel. In the history of this channel, my driving point of this is I do not like blaming officials for losses. I'm not saying the officials cost us that game. I'm going to say that the officiating league-wide is fucking horrible. I watched with my wife yesterday the Pittsburgh Ravens game, and there were three critical plays that I can call off the top of my head, play-by-play, verbatim of what happened, that were way wrong. And they were reviewed, and the officials still got them wrong. Seriously, it's fucking horrible. In our game, I think it might be the Shazer effort, it might be, I don't know, it might have been Dunbar. Dunbar was guarding, I want to say Edelman. Edelman runs into his back. It's incidental contact, falls over, and on 3rd and 8, and we get a fucking penalty. We get a fucking penalty. And they get to keep the ball and keep driving the ball or whatever. It's fucking irritating. It really fucking is. They got it. And I watched the end of the Panthers game where there was a blatant pass interference in the end zone. 2 of them. And that's not even, if that contact's not called, and yet inadvertent contact, the guy running into your back, is a fucking penalty in the Redskins game. In the Baltimore game, I was watching the Baltimore and Steeler game. My wife's a Steeler fan. There's a pick. The guy can't get his hands up because there is literally a defender holding his arm down, and the tight end can't get his other hand up to grab the football. He tips it straight up in the air. It lands in the defender's hands. No call on that. No call whatsoever. There's another play where it's he throws Lamar Jackson throws the ball to their tight end. I don't know the tight end's name, but he goes to come down with it, and it lands in like Devin Bush's hands. And as Devin Bush comes down, the ball hits the ground, and that's the only way he's able to secure it. That's an incomplete pass. But no, they make the wrong call. New York says it's the wrong call. It's like, this is blatantly the wrong call. You can see the ball moving, and then when he hits the ground, it stabilizes. That is clearly an incomplete pass. And then another one, it's a 3rd and 8, and they throw the ball, I think it's to Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster catches it, barely moves, and they knock the ball out. And it's clearly an incomplete pass. He did not make 3 steps. He did not make enough steps to make it a football move. He caught it before he can even tuck it. It gets knocked out of his hand. That's not a pass. That is not a completion. Now, in overtime, they got it correct. He caught it and took 2 or 3 steps, and then made a move, and then they hit the ball out. It's the same thing. The difference is one has the correct number of steps, the other one doesn't. That's all there is to it. One has the correct number of steps, the other one doesn't. It's fucking irritating to watch. It's how the officiating is that inconsistent throughout the entire league. I don't know what these guys make. They shouldn't be making anything. I'm sorry. They should not be having jobs right now. The officiating is so horrible and inconsistent. I can go game to game and watch defenses play rough in one game, and the other game, if they breathe on them, it's a penalty. It's not consistent whatsoever. The NFL needs to get on the same page. And again, I'm not blaming the referees. The Redskins would have lost this game regardless. But in the early part of the game, where momentum matters, and the Redskins are actually in the game, and you make calls like that, and then we have 4 straight plays where there's a stupid ass penalty. There's a holding penalty. Legal hands to the face penalty. There's a illegal shift penalty. False start penalty. I mean, some of those are legit. I think the false start one was a little bit ridiculous. The receiver found itself in a set. He was in motion. He doesn't have to set himself. It's bullshit, and the rules never are accurate. And same thing in the Baltimore game. Steelers hiked the ball. Was it Baltimore? It might have been the Dallas game. No, it was the Dallas game. Dallas, they hiked the ball, and all the offensive line moved at the same exact time. There was no false start. It's a fumble, and the Green Bay Packers recover it. It's in the red zone, and the officials call false start. There wasn't false start. It was ridiculous. I was I'm getting really tired of watching it. I really am. And then I don't want to get into the Chiefs game. There was so much stuff in that game, both ways, not just one way or the other. It's both ways. It was just really ridiculous how much officiating really seems to be dictating the outcome of games. And I don't like it at all. I don't like blaming losses on it. I'm just saying league-wide it's fucking atrocious. It is fucking atrocious. How bad the officiating has gotten. And you can literally go game to game, and it's 2 different styles of officiating. It really is. And even with reviews, they still get the calls wrong. It's really, I don't know if it's a referee bias. I mean, if there's a bias, the Redskins are definitely on the negative side of that. As much stuff as we get called for. But anyway, Callahan's coach. So, I mean, he coached the offensive line. The offensive line's penalized more than any other offensive line in the league. So, I mean, we'll see how this plays out. Minuski's still the defensive coordinator, so we're still going to have a shitty defense. Oh, my fucking God. I hate traffic. I'm sorry. We still have a shitty defense. When it comes to quarterback, last week, this week, I get it as to why we did not start Haskins. That defense would have torn apart. And Colt McCoy, I don't know what the fuck Jay Gruden was thinking. Colt McCoy was trash. He was absolute garbage. He did not need to be out there. I know he's holding on hope that Colt knew the offense better than everyone else. And whatever. Keenum is the best quarterback we've had this year. He should have been in the whole time. He's played great. If we had a decent defense, we'd have gone at least 2-1 in the first 3 games. But our defense is not good, so it doesn't really matter. Or it's not playing well, let me phrase that. They've shown the ability in 3 halves. The first half against the Eagles, the second half against the Bears. Who was our second game? I guess a little bit. The first quarter really kind of against the Cowboys. Our first half against the Cowboys wasn't too bad. And then the first half against the Patriots. That the defense has shown they have the ability to put pressure on the quarterback and do things like that. They just don't. You can't let the offense get in the rhythm. That's the problem we're having. It's the offense gets in the rhythm way too easy, and then we can't recover. And we don't scheme to stop the offenses, like take away their best options. We just sit back and let them do what they want. He might blitz one guy once in a while, but he doesn't bring the house. He had one. I saw like one blitz. It was like a delayed blitz by Cole Holcomb. So I'm not getting into it. There was some fight in the defense. I saw some good things. I saw some bad things. But ultimately, I don't understand why you would fire the head coach. You should have fired the defensive coordinator first. And then the head coach gets fired if it doesn't fix things. If you fire the defensive coordinator, let's say you fire the defensive coordinator after week 2 or week 3. We come out and beat the Giants because our defense actually comes out and plays. And we come out and we actually are acing at the Patriots. Instead of losing by 33-7, we lose by about, I don't know, let's say it's 14-7 or something. It's a closer game. And we're showing that our defense is one of the more predominant issues we're having. I don't understand why you don't do that. It doesn't make sense, because now you're still going to have a bad defense, and now it's going to look like Callahan is creating the bad defense as well. It doesn't make sense. It's typical of the Redskin front office to make a move of this caliber and not think it through of what you should have done earlier. I think it's just like they don't like firing coordinators mid-season or anything like that. I think that's what it comes down to. They don't like firing coordinators mid-season. I think it's just Dan Snyder's, like, I guess it's philosophy. I don't know. He doesn't have. I don't think he has a philosophy. I just think he just does it by the wind of his short. He just wings it. I don't think he has any real like policies on that. But so now we're at a point where we have an interim head coach in Callahan, which Callahan, he's going to be detail oriented, so it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be horrible. I think we can still win some games with him. We're not going to win we're not going to make them go 11-0 the rest of the season and make the playoffs or anything. But I do think that Callahan. He'll do some things. He'll be more specific. They're basically going to delegate responsibilities now. Instead of Jay Gruden calling the plays, Kevin O'Connell will call the plays. And basically, this is Kevin O'Connell's audition. He'll call the plays. He'll audition for either a head coaching job or to stand on his offensive coordinator for the next coach. And they should probably put in Haskins. I'm going to say they should start Haskins, because now with the season being a foregone conclusion, Haskins, he gets all the reps. Build the offense around him. Make it simple. Make it something he can progressively do every week. Add a little something new every week that he can add and progress. That way, by the beginning of next season, he's got some experience on his belt. He has a lot of experience in the offense if Callahan stays, or if Kevin O'Connell stays, or whatever his name is. So it basically will give him the chance to progress. Every week you add a little something extra. Focus on the running game. I still say people get so butthurt that Adrian Peterson, who's a veteran guy and he's a Hall of Fame, you don't bench him. Yeah, you do. I'm sorry. Eventually people get bad. That's like saying you don't trade Trent Williams because he's a Hall of Famer or he's this, that. Yes, you do. He's unhappy. He doesn't want to be here. Fuck him. Get him out of here. I'm sorry. There's too many emotion. This is the thing about Redskins fans. We're too emotional. Too emotional about players, and not in things like people wanted to fire Jay Gruden after he said Adrian Peterson. For a half of football, he looked right. For a half of football, when the defense played well and the offense was flowing, it didn't matter where the fuck Adrian Peterson was. It didn't matter. Adrian Peterson had no impact on that game. What sucked with that is the defense gave up 3 50-yard bombs for touchdowns. And that's the truth. That's what cost the game. Third down conversions, or at least 3 50-yard bombs for touchdowns. That's what cost the Redskins that game. Adrian Peterson would have no impact on that. He would have had none. He doesn't play defense, so he'd had 0 impact on that outcome. Against the Cowboys, he played and he sucked. Against Cowboys, he played and he sucked. He was horrible. So I don't understand. And against the Bears, he sucked. He was horrible. The Giants, he sucked. He was horrible. Now, to be fair to him, every time he makes a positive play, there's a fucking holding penalty. And so I'm not going to be too. I mean, it's not a fair comparison for him, but it also is a fair comparison. No excuses. When you get opportunities, you got to run. And there's times where he would get like an 8-yard first down run or something, and holding or illegal shift or hands to the face or some dumb bullshit we get called. So Redskin fans are way too emotional about this crap. That's like saying that's like when Kirk Cousins. There's so many people who want to keep Kirk Cousins because he's our guy. He's one of our homegrown. We drafted him. Like, okay, so what? We drafted RG3 too. I didn't see anyone trying to, suck his dick to keep him in the building. Seriously. Why did we give up on RG3 so quick? If that's really the philosophy, why was RG3 given up on so quick? If you want someone who is homegrown, who redrafted, who whatever, who came up through our system and we built, okay, then that should be the same philosophy as RG3. If that's your philosophy, that you want someone that we drafted, then that's our guy, and that yada yada yada, then we should have been like that with Kirk Cousins or with RG3. It's hypocritical bullshit. It's people get emotional about players, and people want to be emotional about players. Listen, I loved RG3 as much as the next person, but logically, football wise, he wasn't a fit with Gruden, and they just signed Gruden to a long-term deal, and RG3 is spending or finalizing and ending his rookie contract. So they weren't going to keep RG3. And they had showed success with Kirk Cousins. And we saw his ceiling early, and that's why I said I don't like him. He's a stats guy, all he cares about is numbers. He basically will do enough where you can say, okay, well, maybe it is his fault, but he ain't the only reason we're losing. It's basically what Kirk Cousins was. And I'm not going to say I'm glad he's doing bad, but it does make me a little bit happy when I see how bad he's doing in the Vikings. I had a bunch of friends of mine that are Vikings fans, a lot of them. I have an unhealthy amount of Vikings friends. My friend James, he's from Minnesota, so he makes sense. Ricky and Brad, like the color purple, I guess, I don't know. And then a guy I went to high school with named Brian Corby. So those are two of my best friends. Ricky and Brad are both Vikings fans for whatever reasons. I think Ricky liked Marshall, and then he liked Randy Moss, and that's why he liked the Vikings. I don't know why Brad does. I'm sure there's a reason. Maybe it's the purple aspect. It might be the Rob Moss thing too. But like four friends of mine, close friends of mine, are all Vikings fans, and not all, but some of them were like, dude, we got your quarterback. How's it feel? Sucking, huh? I mean, we got your quarterback, and I think Case Keenum for the most part did well this year. Just things around him just weren't. If we were a more stable organization, it would have been an issue. That's the problem right now. It's just not a stable organization, and it doesn't matter. Everyone's like, well, Jay Gruden needs to be fired. It doesn't matter if Jay Gruden was fired today or he's fired in 10 weeks from now. The problem with the Redskins is the front office, and it's always going to be the problem with the Redskins. Until Dan Snyder sells the team to me for $1 and I run the team, or anyone really. I mean, I'll take anyone being the owner. Okay? I'll take anyone being the owner of the Washington Redskins other than Dan Snyder. Because anyone other than Dan Snyder will let the team be run by football people. Bruce Allen knows shit about football. He knows nothing about football. The only reason he is a GM and he's involved in the organization is they're trying to get a new stadium made, and they want him and his political connections to make it work, make it happen. And that's exactly why they want Bruce Allen there, and they're not going to let him leave. I mean, you can move the guy to like president or like some kind of role where he's in charge of that, and let someone who knows football run football. Like seriously, this is the equivalent, and this is how this is not a great comparison, but it's a comparison nonetheless. Whenever, if anyone knows basketball, anyone knows the Lakers, the Buss family, the owner of the Lakers, Buss, I think his name was like Jerry or Dr. Buss, whatever his name was, his Buss. The Buss family, and whenever he died, he wanted his son Jimmy Buss to run the franchise. And his son, who doesn't know basketball, doesn't know anything about basketball, doesn't know how to ingratiate with other people, all these things about the sport of basketball, he does not know. He does not have any inclination of. Doesn't build relationships, and he gets put in charge of basketball operations and is supposed to build a team. And it's equivalent to that. Why would you put someone who doesn't know football in charge of football? Why would you put someone who doesn't know basketball in charge of basketball? That'd be like, I mean, as much as I do think I could run the team better than Bruce Allen, if they put me in charge, I have no credentials to back it up. I mean, I played a year of college football. I have pretty good analysis. If I did a game film breakdown, I can really show like my acumen of how much I know about football. But other than that, I have no background other than coaching. Like I coach high school sports, and I coach youth league sports for a couple years, and then high school sports for 3 years. And I coached a team to the Elite Eight of the Maryland 1A basketball tournament, whatever you want to call it. So we finished 8th in the state. So I'm sorry, we finished 7th. I'm sorry. No, we finished 5th. I'm sorry, 5th. We didn't make it to the Final Four. That's what it was. So I'm not getting too much into it anymore. Whenever there's an announcement on more things, I guess I'll go over it. Like I said, Haskins just needs to start. He should have started against the Giants. That would have been a great time to start him. I wouldn't have put him in against the Bears. The reason why I would start against the Giants is you start him, you dummy down the offense. Because you started Keenum and Keenum was banged up or whatever, you started Keenum and he was not mobile and they had all week to prepare for Keenum. You should have started Haskins, and then the Giants would have not had any clue on how to defend him. But instead, we got behind the 8 ball, and we just didn't. It just didn't work out. I don't want to get too much into this anymore. It's been almost a 30-minute long video. I'm not happy with the franchise at all. I'm not happy. I kind of don't want to cover them the rest of the season because I'm just so fed up with it. We have a defense that improves and adds good players. We have an offense that adds a quarterback who slings the ball more. We have a running back come back from injury, and he's injured. It's just dumb things. Like, how do you have a team? The defense we had last year, we didn't lose too many players. We add Landon Collins. We add Jimmy Moreland. We have Cole Holcomb. We add John Bostic. We have an offense. We add a lot of good young receivers. We add a quarterback who actually will sling the football. And we get a running back back. Now the running back's injured, but we get a running back back. How do we add all those things and we get worse? I don't understand that for the life of me. We are more competitive with backups in than we are right now when we have starters in. You can point to a lot of things. Distractions. I think the Trent Williams thing was a huge distraction in the offseason that we just never fixed and never tried to fix or whatever. So that's part of it. But this is Redskins Rant. This is JD. Like, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Redskins Ranter. I was ranting about the game significantly. I'm not going to give any game balls. I guess Sims and Terry McLaurin. God, it's going to be a long rest of the season. It's going to be long. And I'm going to have to start getting back to the premise of these videos. It's supposed to rant about the Redskins and bitch and moan rather than always being the Mr. Positive all the time. I mean, there's enough negative Redskin channels. I guess I need to veer away from that if I can. But there's just not a lot to be positive about right now. There's not a lot. I mean, I'm excited about Terry McLaurin. I don't even know we don't know what